How's it going, guys? We're going to be doing something a little bit different today's video. We're going to be doing a bit of a market update. I want to do this more regularly. I'll figure out a structure on how I want to do it, but I have my computer here. I have a bit of a different setup. I mean, obviously I have the setup behind me. It's the same setup, but just different angle. We're going to be looking at some new stuff. We're going to be covering stuff that's going up, stuff that's going down, different uptrends, downtrends, and we're also going to be talking about new information coming up for new sets. So we're going to be talking about all of that in this video. So let's get started with Ascended Heroes. All right, so I'm just going to go and say it. Ascended Heroes is probably going to be the best set of Mega Evolutions. Mega Evolutions is half an era for anyone who doesn't know. So there's going to be a lot of competition to be better than this set. So first of all, let's quickly talk about the pack art. It has a Pikachu, it has a Lucario, it has a Charizard, a Dragonite, a Mewtwo, and a Ho-Oh. That's insane. Now, Pokemon do have a history of putting a Pokemon on a pack and then they just make it like an EX, like Phantasmal Flames with the Gengar. They literally tricked us all thinking we were going to get a Gengar artwork, but it's going to be in this set. Then anyways, that's not a guarantee that these Pokemon will feature in there, but we have 22 SIRs and we have 33 illustration rares. That's a pretty big deal. That's very hard to beat. Yeah, honestly, this actually might just be the best set to start off with. It's going to be interesting to see if we're going to have both eras, Scarlet and Violet, and also Mega Evolutions dominated by a holiday set. There's no debate Prismatic Evolutions is the hottest set of Scarlet and Violet. If that was a booster box, it would be like 500, I reckon. So it is very interesting to see that we might see the same thing with Ascended Heroes. So Ascended Heroes has this Zekrom promo, which is a pretty nice promo. It'll definitely pair well with the Journey Together promo. Now, for anyone who holds the Journey Together illustration rate or just the promo in general, this is very good news. The reason why is because this is an Elite Trainer Box promo, meaning that a lot of people are going to have access to this promo. But how do you get the other Journey Together promo? Well, that is from the box topper. It is from a booster box. For every booster box, there's like 3 ETBs going by packs. And also, booster boxes are just more expensive. So there's less Reshurams than Zekroms. So people will need the Reshiram if they want to complete both Pokemon. So that is definitely cool for anyone who holds that. If you can get it at MSRP, you'll be just fine. I've made it quite vocal. I'm not really worrying about Mega Evolutions, the era for now, but I would not blame you if you want to buy these at MSRP. There's nothing wrong with securing it. Now, the thing is, it would have to be a really good set to justify holding on to it for 2 years while it's still in print. For something like Destined Rivals and Prismatic Evolutions, I can justify it, right? I think it's fair to do that. This would have to be a really, really good set to convince me. But there's nothing wrong with just holding at MSRP. You're probably going to do fine. Yeah, looks like a really good set. Even in like the downturn, I mean, if you've got a Mega Gengar, you got a Mega Charizard, the Mega Charizard EX. So if they make that into an artwork, even in the downturn, it will really struggle to go below MSRP. During the downturn with Pokemon, it is very common that things can go under MSRP. I mean, booster boxes were $100 when the MSRP was $150. So you definitely have times when the MSRP is higher than the market value, but a lot of time, if you have really good sets, they are kind of immune from going below MSRP. So if you buy it at MSRP, you'll probably just be chilling. Just please do not FOMO in. We've seen every single release. We've seen Journey Together. We've seen Destined Rivals. We've seen Black Bolt. We've seen Mega Evolutions, Phantasmal Flames. Every single release, even Prismatic Evolutions at that, has jumped after release and has gone down after release. So if you're pre-ordering these at a price, just do note that like 1 week after release or 2 weeks after release, there's a good chance it's going to get cheaper. On the topic of things getting cheaper, Phantasmal Flames is officially $270 a booster box with no further reprints or restocks, which is a pretty big deal. Not because it's, it's a flop or it's going to go down and it's a horrible set. No, the reason why it's a big deal is because it was half a release, right? So like Journey Together was a full release. Destined Rivals was a full release. Black Bolt was a full release. The last time we had half a release was Mega Evolutions. Mega Evolutions base went from $330 to $250. It's not the biggest deal out there, but it is something to think about considering how good of a set that was. This has started at $300 and it's at $270 with no second wave. The second wave is coming, but it hasn't come in just yet. So to have the demand drop off where it's dropped by 10% and no new stock has entered supply, it kind of makes you think what's going to happen when stock does enter the supply, right? Like, could it go to 250? Could it go to 240, 230? Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly the most surprising thing out there. It's not horrible. It's 10%. It's realistically not the biggest deal out there. I mean, I'm a professional Phantasmal Flames hater, but I will say it's not the end of the world. If you hold this box, you'll be fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't interest me, but it doesn't mean it's just going to go to zero. It's still a Pokemon booster box, still got a premium. Now, the thing to just take to note was the last time we did see half a release was Prismatic Evolution Elite Trainer boxes. A lot of stores sold too many than they expected they would receive. So what happened was then there was one wave which was in January and the second wave was in June/July. So for me, I ordered 10 cases. I got 5 cases for like $600 each in January, and I got my 5 other cases in June or July, something like that. ETB cases. Now this is the thing. When the second wave happened, Prismatic Evolution crashed. Let me show you what I mean. Alrighty, so let's just check out the chart rail here. So we've got the pre-orders here. This was before there was the hype wave. January was like the peak of hype. It was like $150. Then it was about like 140, 130 for a good amount of time. Then once we got to the restocks, you'll see it plummeted for a very long time. All of May, dude, it even went down to $98. Holy crap. So is that like late May, start of June, all the way down to September. In that like 3-month window, it was $100 in ETB. Now, the reason why was obviously Prismatic Evolutions had a lot of demand, but a big thing is that only half of the stock released. They couldn't do a full release. They had to do another wave. So they're doing the same thing with Phantasmal Flames. They've split the booster boxes in 2 releases. We've had release date, and then I don't know when the next one is going to be. I don't know, maybe in a month or so. I think the same thing happened with Mega Releases. I think it was about a month after the release date. The second wave came, and it just plummeted the price. Now, once again, it's not the end of the world, but it is definitely something to think about. That this is why you shouldn't FOMO into things. You've got to remember with TCG Player, only stores can pre-sell stuff. Normal people can't. Only stores can pre-sell stuff. So when it releases and the official release date is over, the floodgates open up and all the supply swarms in. And then if you've got a split release where like people have to wait for more booster boxes, like it's inevitably going to go down, right? So Phantasmal Flames has gone down to 270, but it hasn't even gone the second release. It's only been half of a normal release. It's already gone down this much. There's a good chance that it will go down more when the next release happens. So that is something to think about. I don't think that you should panic, and I don't think it's worth selling to then buy back this dip that like will happen in the future. It's just not going to be big enough of a dip for that to happen. Like you got to remember, if you sell it on TCG Player for 270, and then you got fees and shipping, dude, it's going to have to go to like 220, 230 just for you to save an extra like 10 or 15 bucks per box after fees and shipping. So it's just not worth it in my opinion. So there's definitely something to think about. Now, on the topic of Prismatic Evolutions, most charts in the Pokemon world has kind of looked like this, right? We've gone like a little bit of up movement and then it goes down. And then you look at other sets like Surging Sparks. Granted, this did get a restock, but still most charts have looked like this. The first-ish of October, pretty much to now, it's just consistently gone down. This is not just for sealed products, this is also for cards. However, Prismatic Evolutions is just a different beast. This box has not gone down really at all. It's like $5, that's what's gone down from like 135 to like 130. This thing is absolutely unstoppable. Even the Umbreon is literally up. It is actually ridiculous how strong Prismatic Evolutions is. This is absolutely ridiculous. The top chase, it hasn't even been affected by this like market pullback in the last 60 days. It's ridiculous. Now, another thing that hasn't really been affected, you'll see a very similar chart, is Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals is a very similar situation. So Destined Rivals, the market pullback happened early October. So like, let's just say October 5th, we've got 403. You go now, it's like 480. Last couple sales is like 360, 397, 360, 397, 397. I will say those 360, I don't really know how valid those are because if you look on eBay, it's just selling for $400. So it's comfortably selling for $400. There's a couple sales a bit cheaper, but it's comfortably selling for $400. That is a pretty big deal because the difference with Destined Rivals to a lot of other items is that Destined Rivals ran up a lot, right? So like, let's just look at in the 6-month chart, it went from like 250 to 450. So it near doubled in price. So this correction here, you'll notice this correction, if you actually pay attention to the dates, it is not pulling back. Look at this. October 5th, it's 403, right? If we compare this to something like, let's just say, Scarlet and Violet base, on October 5th, it was 245. Now it's the low 220s. So you'll notice that Destined Rivals, it's not pulling back because it's pretty much stayed at the same price the whole time. And it's not pulling back because of the market pullback. It's pulling back because this box near doubled, right? So let's just say, I don't know, like I really have nothing here to use as an example, but a lot of boxes and a lot of cards have gone down because of this whole market pullback. But with Destined Rivals, it's a bit of a different story. It's going down because it near doubled in price. Now, the thing is, it is pretty crazy to have something like Scarlet and Violet base. You look at this and it's down 10%, right? It goes from 245 to 225, so it's down 10%. Then you look at Destined Rivals and it's from 450 to 400, so it's down 10%. The only difference is that Destined Rivals near doubled in price. Meanwhile, if you look at the same time, Scarlet and Violet base went from 220 to 240. So basically, Scarlet and Violet base went up 10%, then went down 10%. Destined Rivals went up 90% and then went down 10%. That is pretty crazy. Definitely something to think about with Destined Rivals. I mean, if you're holding this box, that just screams that it's a good set. It screams that there's demand. People are opening it up. I did make a video talking about how this is one of the most opened up sets from Scarlet and Violet. If you are interested, make sure to check that out after this video. It is very interesting to see. But yeah, a lot of Destined Rivals is being sold, but at the same time, a lot of it is being opened, right? You compare that to something else where it's not being opened as much, and you'll really see that a lot of the time, yes, the demand can drop off, but if the supply does as well, it just doesn't really matter, right? Alright, let's look at the Charizard. So Charizard is down to about 600 to 650, which is honestly not that crazy. Now, you'll see a couple copies here. A lot of these are when they're really minty. There is a heavy premium on them, especially when it's a new set. But most of the sales, like 680, 600, 750. So it's like about the 650 range, right? A lot of the time, a set will come out. The first like 7 days, the top chase will go down in price, but then it usually does stabilize. And the reason is because basically what generally happens with the release is the first 7 days, the top chase will go down a lot, but then it'll usually find a bit that it'll stabilize in for a while. Now, it usually stabilizes in this price until the next set comes out. So I would expect the Charizard to hover around like the 500 range to like the 650 range until two things. Either we see a restock where we have more booster boxes come in, which there is going to be another wave. When, I don't know, but there will be another wave. So either that or when Ascended Heroes comes out. We saw the same thing with Journey Together. The Lily Clefairy came out really hot. It sold for like 600, 700 bucks. But the thing is, with the combination of people realizing the poor rates are really easy, which the Journey Together poor rates are actually harder than Phantasmal Flames. So do take that to know, but you've got that plus the attention then moving to Destined Rivals, then the Lily Clefairy really took the hit, right? So this is probably going to happen with the Charizard, where once Ascended Heroes comes out or there's a second print wave, it'll really feel a hit. So I will say it'll probably hover around this range for a bit, but it is definitely something to think about. Now, on the topic of something that's just getting absolutely clapped, this Charizard is 3 times as hard to pull as the SIR, and it's cheaper. So this needs 1/3 of the demand that the other Charizard has just to hold its price, and it can't even do that. So this Charizard is getting absolutely clapped. 498, 497, 600, 510. I mean, this card is just getting destroyed right now. I honestly, I'd love to say why. I don't really know why. I think it's just not popular. And when I say it's not popular, I think it's just, I guess people don't really connect that well with these kind of cards, these gold cards, but it's whatever. It's not the biggest deal out there, to be honest. But the problem about this gold card was that a lot of people were thinking like it has a gold card and it has a normal SIR. But here's the thing, if I'm being honest with you, I don't think anybody's chasing this gold card. I don't think anyone is opening up Phantasmal Flames going like, please give me this gold card. I'm pretty sure it's simply that it's just rare, so it's naturally expensive. A lot of the time, when you have really rare cards, no one is really opening the set to chase it. If it's like really rare and expensive, a lot of the time it's just expensive because it's rare, right? So having a card like the Charizard where it's 1 in 400 packs to pull and it's more expensive than this card, it goes to show you this card has virtually no demand. So I would expect this card to continue to trickle in the future. Now, tapping into this a little bit further, you'll notice that to pull a VMAX All Eyes about 1 in 2,000 packs in Evolving Skies, the Rainbow Rare is practically the same pull rates. However, there is no Rainbow Rare that is half the price of the top chasers in Evolving Skies. You'll notice that an alt art, which is 1 in 1,000 packs, is double as easy to pull as these rainbow rares, but you'll notice that they're a lot of the time triple, quadruple, 5, 6, 7 times as much as these rainbow cards. And the reason why is because of demand, right? So you might look at the Charizard and go, it's 1 in 1200 packs to pull a gold Charizard. It's probably going to be expensive. Well, sort of, but if there's really much no demand, it's just gonna keep falling. Look at the most expensive chase of Evolving Skies. It's like $2,000. All right, look at the most expensive Rainbow Rare, practically the same difficulty to pull. All right, well, the most expensive Rainbow Rare is like 60, 70 bucks. So you're telling me that it's like not even 1/30th of the price? Okay, so then what does that mean the ceiling for this gold card is? Definitely is something to think about. But anyways, yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this new format. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, I'm not gonna do it every single time. The majority is just gonna be my normal background. So yeah, but that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.